Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nהיה b'dvaro. L'chaim, l'chaim, everybody. L'chaim l'bracha. Yud Gimel Tammuz. It's a 2-day holiday of the previous Rebbe being released from prison. We continue with, so the good yontiv. We continue with the Maimer, the Hasidic discourse of Ata Tzitzava. So there are three things. The first thing is the experience that Jewish people had in Matan Torah, at the giving of the Torah. Mount Sinai. It was a revelation from above. What does it mean it's a revelation from above? It means it wasn't integrated in part of the human condition, shall we say. It is similar to today that our soul, the way it's rooted in its source, sees godliness. The way it's above, it sees godliness. What's the proof there is a God? Well, seeing is believing. So the soul sees godliness. It's not the soul in the body. That's not what it experiences. It experiences being trapped in a body. But the root source of the soul, right? That's why you'll have pangs at times of wanting to do tshuva, wanting to return to Hashem, to connect. Because the connection is there in a way that you see it. That's the lowest level. Why is it the lowest level of the soul? Because it's outside of you. Because when you see something, you're seeing something that's outside of you. It's not of you. It's not a part of you, right? Although, as they say, seeing is believing. Then there's the second level, which was in the story of Purim, the times of Achashverosh, who ruled, and there was a decree against all the Jewish people, and that brought out Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice. Now that's greater than seeing godliness, because seeing godliness, again, this is all about the soul, its experience, if you will. So self-sacrifice of the soul is an expression of the core essence of your soul. It's a much deeper connection. The way the soul, when we say the essence of the soul, the way it is simply beyond, though being integrated and being part of you, the human condition, the humanness of you, which is your inner powers, which is your intelligence and your emotions. It's like when you run on adrenaline. We've all experienced running on adrenaline, running on something that's greater, that's more powerful, beyond. It's like the beyond within me that you're running on. By way of example, giving, and when you run on adrenaline, it's not internalized. So when you're dealing with self-sacrifice, right, it's not internalized. Because it's beyond. It's like maybe another metaphor for this. Just think of something like, PTSD, right? People fighting in war. They're life on the line. because it's not internalized, so therefore it's because it's beyond them. And I'm just saying that let us assume that it's coming from the core essence, well, like an Israeli soldier, Jewish soldier fighting in Israel. It's an expression of the core of them that they're putting on the line. Or today is Yud Gimel Tammuz, this, and this is the reference point, 1927. The previous Rebbe, and the Rebbe is basing it on the 1927 discourse of the previous Rebbe, complete sacrifice, but not just his sacrifice. The Hasidim put their life on the line. And as we see, since it's a core expression of them and they put their life on the line, when they came to a place of where you didn't have to live such a life, right? You didn't have the threat of the KGB. What happened? What happened in such an instance? They didn't have the same self-sacrifice. They didn't have the same core of the essence of the soul, right? Why? Because it's like, running on adrenaline. Once you can run normal, so you don't have to run beyond. You're running normal. So you're running normal, so you don't see the same kind of self-sacrifice. Sacrifice doesn't mean just giving up your life. Sacrifice means going beyond. When it's a time of war, right? Whether it's war in Israel today, whether it was war against the communists, which the war wasn't with a gun, it was going underground and if you want, it was guerrilla warfare, right? Making sure that yeshivas are still running, that there's a mikveh, there's a synagogue to pray in. And where was all that? Underground, couldn't be open because then you'll be sent to the gulag or you'd be shot and killed. Plain and simple. So that's the core essence, but it's not something that's integrated. That why I mentioned about soldiers getting PTSD. I don't know if I think that's the right acronym. Right, is because it's not integrated what they're going in. It's not a part of them. It's beyond. So that's why they haven't um, filtered it into the mind and the heart that it becomes a part of them. So therefore, it's shocking to the system. But then there is the third level, and this is what the uniqueness of our mimer is, right? Is that the situation of today, where we have everything's plenty materially, right? Plenty spiritually. We're living in unprecedented times. Yes, with all the anti-Semitisms going around, is like, overrated. Not to say that there isn't. There is. That's not the experience. Not my experience. I pray tell, anybody else here, that's not your daily experience, not even your weekly or your monthly experience. Once a month, I experience anti-Semitism. I don't. So the point is, everything is Baruch Haba. Again, I'm not being foolish to think that there isn't. That's not the point. The point of the mimer is that we live in a time of plenty materially and spiritually. Unprecedented times. That's why we can, point a finger and say, oh, anti-Semitism is because everything is like beyond. The anti-Semitism we experience today, 200 years ago, we would have welcomed it. This kind of anti-Semitism. compared to what they got from the Cossacks, compared what they got from, whatever, from whoever, whatever. I think you get the point. In any case, the point over here, what's important is because we have everything, and yet, so how do we touch the core of our soul? What's going to touch it? So here's the kicker, as we've been learning, it's not going to be something extraneous to us. That's the key. It's us, right? In the previous one, self-sacrifice is because, hey, we have no choice. Or, I mean, there is a choice, but, story of Purim, the story of the previous Rebbe fighting Stalin. So there's something external that we're fighting against. Here, there's nothing to fight against. And I suggest we don't fight against anti-Semitism. Just walk proudly as a Jew. So, recently saw beautiful. I heard that when the Nazis first came to power, the Rebbe and the Rebbitzin were in Germany, in Berlin. Imagine. They left, thereafter in 1933. But they were walking the street and there were Nazis marching, or I think they were marching. The Rebbe and the Rebbitzin said, maybe we should go to the side. And the Rebbe said, no. Sollen sie sehen a Yid. They should see a Jew. Anyways, that doesn't mean today you have to go into the lion's den, but and whatever. Just pretty powerful. In any case, so then if we have everything, how do we reach the core of our soul? It's only when it comes from within. And we're broken because godliness isn't, even though we might be leading a Jewish life, and even really connected. And we are connected. But that there is Jews, and non-Jews too, right? There is a corner in the world where godliness isn't revealed. So that brings to a brokenness. But that brokenness is coming from the root, from the core of the soul, the way it is. The essence of the soul is rooted in the essence of God. And therefore, it will also be internalized and become us. Because it's not forced on us, that notion. It's only coming from us, so therefore it's one with us. Very unique. Okay. Very unique. So with this now, we can connect it to the mimer of the previous Rebbe. Remember, we're based on a verse, and you shall command, God says to Moshe, you shall command the Bnei Israel, meaning you should connect the Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. You should connect them. That's the faithful shepherd. What he does, he connects the Jewish people to God. He feeds them as the shepherd feeds the flock faith. And on the other hand, the Jewish people, then in the reciprocal relationship with Moshe, they will bring to him the olive oil that's crushed, that brings out that comes from the core essence of the soul. And why are we crushed? Because again, we're in exile. The light of God isn't shining everywhere in the world. After the Moshe, he commands, he connects the children of Israel. Then the Jew will bring to Moshe the olive oil, meaning, what does that mean? That the Jewish people, through their avodah, their efforts, through their service, their divine service to God, they add they reveal in Moshe something more. They give him something more that he has on his own, right? And we can explain now the explanation in this and what it means in this in our divine service. The Moshe, he connects us. He is feeding us faith that it should be, in addition, that we should, through that faith, that we should be able to see godliness, right? As our soul sees it above, that we should be able to see it down here below too. That we should see godliness, which means to be able to see the divine providence in your life, which means to be able to see that there's nothing that in your life is not connected to God. But also he's going to give us from the core essence of our soul even more, right? He's going to connect us in a way that we can touch the essence of our soul. And we can say, therefore, that this, which it says, that you shall command Bnei Israel. It sounds like Moshe is the one who's making the connection, right? For Bnei Israel. Right. So he is connecting us that from the essence of our soul. It's also connecting us to each other. Then the essence of the soul that we are really one, right? The Jewish people are one. And through the avodah then of the Jew, through our service, after that, Moshe reveals in us the core essence of our soul, right? He gives us access to that. And therefore, the core essence of our soul, how all Jews are in core essence connected as one. That now also our revealed powers, the revealed powers that we have, meaning revealed powers means our intelligence and emotions, right? When you speak core essence, that's not revealed. That's like, core essence. It's not a revealed thing, but it gives us the power that our core essence, that then it should reveal into the from the essence of our soul. That also the powers of our soul. Chapter 2 of Tanya, by the way, speaks about the essence of the soul. Chapter 3 of Tanya speaks about the powers of the soul. Right. So the powers of the soul, meaning our intelligence and our emotions, should also be aligned to the essence of the soul. Meaning, just like the core essence, there is a brokenness that there isn't godliness everywhere revealed. So likewise, we understand that intellectually and we feel that emotionally. That is something so in that respect, that's something we can only do. We have to bring it into and internalize it and make it us and make it a part of us. Moshe can reveal core essence of our soul. But for us to make it now, bring that authenticity, bring that reality and bring that into the humanness of me, the powers of my soul, my intelligence, and my emotions. That's something I have to bring in. And therefore will reveal the true way that I am connected. And therefore we add to Moshe. We add something. We give something to him. And 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 the Rebbe adds that the essence of the soul, the way it's rooted in the essence of God, the way Tanya brings out, the Rebbe brings out a chiddush over here. The way we are rooted in the essence of God, there's no difference between material and spiritual. The way the soul, Tanya speaks about that we're rooted in God from the soul perspective, from the soul that is beyond the body. So therefore, it'll be from that soul perspective, we're one. But the way the soul is rooted in the core essence, soul and body are the same. And therefore, the Ahavas Yisrael will be expressed not just soulfully, but it will be expressed also materially. Very interesting, which maybe we need to expand upon. But time is up. We'll see you shortly, folks. Thank you. I hope that was very profound and very powerful. I hope we're good. I'm glad you're